From Manila to the globe, this is World Newsfeed, bringing you the biggest stories shaping our times. Good morning, I'm Raine Musñgi. Let's dive into the headlines making a global impact. And we're looking at live pictures now of Beirut's southern suburban neighborhood in Lebanon, which has seen at least 2 blasts hours after Israel issued an evacuation order Wednesday. The U.S. said it opposed the scope of Israel's attack in Beirut amid a rising death toll and fears of wider regional escalation. While smoke was seen billowing over the Nabatea area in southern Lebanon following an Israeli strike. 2 security sources said the strike killed the mayor Ahmed Kahil and at least 5 others. The Israeli military said it struck dozens of Hezbollah targets in the Nabatea area and dismantled underground infrastructure. The strike came despite U.S. concerns about the rising death tolls and fears of an all-out war in the region as Israel battles Iran-backed Hezbollah in southern Lebanon and capital Beirut and the Palestinian militant Hamas in Gaza. Meanwhile, at least 1 person was killed in a fire at a small Pars Petro Shushtar refinery in Iran's Khuzestan province. Iranian state media said the fire was under control, but firefighters and rescue workers remain on alert at the scene. A local authority attributed the cause of the incident to a tanker collision with gasoline tanks and said the incident is under investigation. This comes the same day the U.S. said it had won assurances from Israel that it will not hit Iranian nuclear or oil sites as it looks to strike back following Iran's missile barrage earlier this month. In Qatar, Qatar's emir Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani said Israel deliberately chose to expand what he called its aggression to implement pre-planned schemes in the West Bank and Lebanon. In his annual speech to open the Shura Council, he said Israel had done so because it sees that the scope for that is unavailable, or rather available. The council has legislative authority but has no say in the setting of defense, security, economic, and investment policy. Amendments to Qatar's constitution will be proposed by the Shura Council. Meanwhile, in Ukraine, President Volodymyr Zelenskyy has unveiled a bold victory plan in parliament aimed at achieving a decisive resolution to the ongoing conflict with Russia. His proposals focus on military strategy, humanitarian aid, and diplomatic outreach to allies. As Ukraine continues to face significant challenges, Zelenskyy's plan seeks to galvanize support, both domestically and internationally. The success of this initiative is seen as critical for Ukraine's sovereignty and long-term stability, making it a topic of intense discussion among policymakers and citizens alike. As Russian forces grind their way toward the strategic supply hub of Pokrovsk in eastern Ukraine, they are also approaching a coking coal mine that fires the country's vital steel industry. Around 10 kilometers west of the town center lies a mine that produces a special type of coal needed to produce coke, an essential element in steel making, which is second only to agriculture in earning hard currency for Ukraine. According to trade data, metal exports were worth almost $2 billion in the first 8 months of this year, money needed to keep Ukraine going 2.5 years into Russia's full-scale invasion. At least 94 people have died in northern Nigeria when a crashed fuel tanker exploded. A Nigerian police spokesperson confirms the blast occurred in Jigawa State near locals who had gathered to retrieve fuel. 50 others were injured. Up next, China issues a chilling stance, force still being on the table over Taiwan. With tensions escalating, what's next for the region? Stay tuned for the latest on World Newsfeed. China is making headlines with a stark warning regarding Taiwan. Beijing has asserted that it will not renounce the use of force in what it describes as a vital mission of reunification. This declaration raises alarms as military posturing intensifies in the region. With the U.S. reiterating its support for Taiwan, tensions at a boiling point. Analysts are concerned that miscalculations on either side could lead to a significant military conflict. The international community is urging restraint, but with both sides ramping up military readiness, the stakes could not be higher. We shift now to Hong Kong, where Hong Kong's leader pledged on Wednesday to reform and revive the economy and financial markets, including slashing liquor duties, while seeking to improve the dire living conditions for the city's poorest. John Lee, in his third annual policy address, highlighted the need to deepen our reforms and explore new growth areas in line with China's national priorities and recent calls from Beijing for all sectors to unite to promote development and economic growth. The government said it would try to develop Hong Kong into a gold trading hub with world-class gold storage facilities, creating a commodity trading ecosystem and fuel bunkering center, and try to tap opportunities in green shipping, aviation, and tourism. The government is also easing mortgage rules to stimulate a sluggish property market. The United States and United Kingdom are pressing ahead with diplomatic ties to India, despite controversy surrounding Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. This partnership aims to enhance economic collaboration in a rapidly changing geopolitical landscape. Both nations see India as a crucial ally in countering regional threats and expanding trade. The announcement came as Britain's Finance Minister Rachel Reeves drew Britain's International Investment Summit to a close.
In our first 100 days in office, we've already begun to put those words into action. Policies to grow our economy developed and delivered alongside business. Removing the blockages in our planning system. Resetting our relationship with our closest partners in the European Union, whilst also developing a new trade strategy and re-energising engagement with significant and fast-growing economies, from India to China and with our partners in the Gulf.
Meanwhile, in Indonesia, Defense Minister Prabowo Subianto is briefing potential ministers on key economic and geopolitical challenges ahead. His insights could shape the nation's future strategies as the country navigates complex regional dynamics. With the new administration looming, discussions are focused on enhancing national security while fostering economic growth. Prabowo's approach emphasizes the need for resilience in an ever-changing geopolitical landscape, particularly as Indonesia plays a more prominent role in Southeast Asia. Now, as these discussions unfold, many are left wondering how they will be able to translate it into actionable policies. The United States, South Korea, and Japan announced the launch of a new multinational team to monitor the enforcement of sanctions against North Korea. This comes amid heightened tensions between the two Koreas. A South Korean official said the team is meant to continue the United Nations panel's work, including issuing regular reports on sanctions enforcement, and will involve the participation of 8 other countries, including Britain, France, and Germany. Washington and Seoul say North Korea and Russia have made illicit military transactions. Moscow and Pyongyang have denied arms transfers, but have vowed to boost military ties.
The goal of the new mechanism is to assist the full implementation of UN sanctions on the DPRK by publishing information based on rigorous inquiry into sanctions violations and evasion attempts. The goal of the new mechanism is to assist the full implementation of UN sanctions on the DPRK by publishing information based on rigorous inquiry into sanctions violations and evasion attempts.
Turning now to Malaysia, former Prime Minister Mahathir Mohamad has been hospitalized due to an infection. His health has sparked concern among supporters and politicians alike. The 99-year-old has been a defining figure in Malaysian politics, and his influence continues to resonate. As he receives treatment, many are reflecting on his legacy and the impact he has had on the nation's development. The political landscape may shift depending on his recovery, making this a critical moment for Malaysia as it navigates future challenges. Still ahead, a superstar in crisis. Kylian Mbappe now fighting off the field as serious allegations emerge. What's next for the football world? Stay tuned to World Newsfeed. Welcome back. On the environmental front, the United Nations Office for Disaster Risk Reduction has launched a new initiative in the Philippines aiming to tackle the severe impacts of climate change. The program focuses on enhancing disaster preparedness and resilience among vulnerable communities. Now, as the Philippines faces ongoing climate challenges, international support and local government will be key in implementing effective solutions. This initiative represents a proactive approach to safeguarding lives and livelihoods in the face of adversity. Onto the sports scene now. Kylian Mbappe is facing serious allegations that could upend his career. The French soccer star's lawyers said allegations of rape in a Stockholm hotel on October 10th against him are totally false and a slanderous rumor. She said the Real Madrid striker is particularly calm, but finds incomprehensible the media reports that he was the subject of an investigation over an incident. France will host Israel in the Nations League under usual conditions. French authorities said Tuesday Israel's Nations League soccer match against host France next month will proceed a day after Italy hosted Israel in the same competition without incident despite security concerns. Italy beat Israel 4-1 in the Nations League on Monday, with the game being played against the backdrop of the ongoing conflict in the Middle East, which has spread to Lebanon after more than a year-long war in Gaza. It was the first match Israel has played outside neutral Hungary this year. Hamas, or rather after the Israel-Hamas war started on October 7 last year, the national soccer team played in Kosovo and Andorra last November. All Israel matches since then have been in Hungary, including last month's game against Belgium in the Nations League, after the Belgian Football Association refused to host the game for security reasons. In entertainment news, SB19 powered through the Billboard Philippines Anniversary event despite technical glitches Tuesday. SB19's performance of Mana was marred by two layers of the same song playing unsynchronized. All 5 members of the group walked out halfway through the performance together with their dancers. They went back on stage to redo the performance, but suffered the same glitch. The source of the technical issue was not clear, but for a third time, the kings of P-pop still came back on stage before 2 a.m. without the live band this time and finished their performance. SB19 went on Instagram to thank fans for watching their Billboard Philippines performance. Back in August, SB19 won Billboard's Fan Army Face-Off by a landslide. Their Atin won with 56% of the votes over Rihanna's Navy with only 43.7%. And that's all for now. Thank you so much for joining us. Catch up with us again tomorrow at 10. And we bring you the world in 30 minutes only on World Newsfeed. Follow the Money comes next. We leave you with this live pictures from Beijing, where China's Minister for Housing and Urban Rural Development, Ni Hong, holds a news conference on the country's beleaguered property market. This comes a month after authorities announced fresh policy support for housing, such as instructing commercial banks to lower mortgage rates for existing home loans before October 31st. Keep it here on the Billionaire News channel, always on top.